Happy Sunday, everyone. It's Toxic Crypto. Wanted to give you a quick update on the bloodshed, the absolute tears that are going on in the crypto community as this rising wedge channel actually broke. As I'm sure everyone was aware when they were looking at their block folios, it was going to be, and still is, a very interesting last, in the process, 72 hours. Yeah, understand that one. The last 24 hours or so, and probably the next 24 hours are going to be very, very important for Bitcoin, and I think as a result, the rest of the crypto community for the short term. A lot of us were looking for a potential hold of this rising channel, and we came up right on. I don't really know if this is a really good trend line, but it kind of makes sense because we sat there for so long, rising up against, and resistance have been trying to break out. And I think a better trend, some type of trend line to draw was probably this. And we just got coiled and coiled and coiled. In fact, I personally actually got in, it was Sunday, Saturday, like Friday evening. I actually got in a little more Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash because I was just, my spider senses were going off. And I had told some of my friends that it felt so coiled, the volumes were so low that we had a big potential. Now, I was also concerned that with volume so low and us being coiled, that someone could hit us down, blow a lot of longs out, and take us back to retest like the 7,300 level, possibly 7,200 level, and it still hold, be okay, and be bullish. Now, I would say that there's really nothing bullish about what just happened. You can try and find some silver lining in what happened, in the fact that we found some support on the overall long-term uptrend, and the fact that stochastics are more in the oversold territory and are trying to curl back up. This is the 3-hour on BitMEX. And the RSI got oversold. That, I don't think that's enough. We had a pretty violent move down over the last 20 hours or so. Again, this is 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday at the time of this recording. And as Bitcoin goes, so does the rest of the market. So what happens if we break this little trend line here? Well, on the daily, I mean, Bitcoin, it had a little bounce off of oversold, but we couldn't break this overall downtrend that we had since the beginning of May. So if we can't hold here, which after that long of consolidation and just kind of grinding up, the fact we gave up the ghost pretty quick, we could get follow through. I think there's definitely the bears can smell the blood, and there's a good chance we could see 70, 78 to around 70.50, maybe 7,000. There's still a chance that's going to hold, and maybe we bounce off that. We pretty much don't want to see us go any bit lower. The lower we go, the extreme bear case, in my opinion, comes on the table, and we're going to see a retest of the 6,500. And I would say that if we see a retest of 6,500, I don't think it's going to hold that time. This is not financial advice. This is merely my opinion. I'm keeping things pretty close to the vest right now. I want to be able to have dry powder just in case we do get a flush, because another scenario is they do take us down, and it could be a violent move down, right? I would assume we get some type of H cell setup where we get, let's go on the hour. You can probably already see it. Like, we held a little bit off that 73.50 area for several hours, and then we got pounded again. Now we're kind of grinding up again, and now we're kind of turning over again. So, if we're going to get a violent sell-off, in crypto, it if it's going to be the bottom, it's normally a V recovery where we go straight down over several hours to straight up very quickly. Um, unless some huge volume comes in, I don't see us going to do that. So, again, I've said this for a while. If we break 7,000, which was this low back in late May, I would be taking a lot of my positions off. And I mean, it's just something you have to watch. Like, I was in here for this break. We didn't get it. Well, guess what? All the momentum traders that were in here too just gave up. So crypto is something that if it's not working, people get out very quickly. And it's unfortunate, but that's the liquidity. So yeah, my game plan is, it's going to be, I'd love it to just kind of go sideways and then over the next couple days come back and try and break out of this wedge again. At this time, it remains to be seen, and it's more bearish than bullish right now. It like literally the bulls have a lot to prove if it's gonna hold, and right now it's definitely in the bears camp. So real quick, what's Litecoin doing? Litecoin's even more bearish than Bitcoin at this time. It's closer to its lows. It's only a few percent off its lows. And, with all the Litecoin bulls out there, which might have been why this gave up the ghost, as you can see, as soon as it broke this wedge, I mean, it was game over. Like, we fell several percent. I didn't see anyone talk about a possible left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And we clearly just broke the neckline, which it's arguable. Like, it could be between 115 and it could be 117. I know this is not what anyone wants to hear, but you can't not look at these things. The head and shoulder pattern here developed over about 2 weeks, and 127.5 to it's about $10. It would say that we're definitely going to see lows, and it would be more like 106, 107, which would take us to one of the spikes down here. So that's kind of where it's saying that we would get some follow-through action. Now, we got a little sell volume in here, but overall it's still really low. It's still really low. And again, if this consolidation pattern doesn't hold, if we don't get our reflex move back up over the next week or two and we make a new low, I think it's game over for Litecoin. Maybe I need to start making bearish videos because the entire YouTube community only makes bullish videos on Litecoin. But it's realistic. If this stuff doesn't hold, we're going lower, and just be prepared. You gotta. That's why you have to have a game plan for both sides, the bear case and the bull case. You have to know your thesis going in. Whether maybe you bought Litecoin at $4 and you don't even give a shit, right? I'm not one of those people, so I have to look at it. I'm long at these levels. What do? You have to protect your capital. So figure out your game plan. If we go down, figure out your game plan if we go up. And if you think about that before you go any trade, you won't let emotions of, oh my God, we just went down $9 or $10 in Litecoin in the last hour. Sell everything. Well, I mean, maybe your sell was before we sold off, or maybe your plan was to take half off if something like that happened. So that's Litecoin. What is Ethereum doing? And again, with Bitcoin, I mean, all these charts are going to be starting to roll over. Ethereum is still well off its lows, right? Litecoin is at its lows. So if this was Litecoin, it would be like we were at 388 right now, right? Ethereum is way off its lows. Even with the EOS launch, Ethereum is hanging on. And, stochastics are curling back over. They got a long way that they could fall. Keep that in mind. RSI is right on the 42 area. And, it's not oversold by any means, even though we've had several days on the downside. It's just because we've been ticking away. I would want to see an Ethereum over the next couple days hold the 550, 549 area. If we break down out of this wedge, we're definitely going to 504, which I think we should get some support around there. And then it's going to be an air gap down to 443. So just keep that in mind. Maybe we get 10% more down, maybe a couple percent more down in Ethereum. And if stuff really gets heavy, Ethereum's going to come off pretty quick. And I think you're going to see the low 400s in Ethereum. I would be very interested to pick up Ethereum down in the 300s again if we get down there. I think I would probably start layering bids down in the 400s. I might even try and protect the 500 mark, but that's going to be below this uptrend. So I don't know. But I mean, we could easily be seeing a huge channel like this. All right? We could be seeing this. So keep that in mind. Chart patterns can and do form, continually transform, I guess I should say. So just because someone has constantly drawn, maybe this line, or maybe they've drawn this line, or maybe you've drawn that, doesn't mean that that's, what's going to happen. It's just a visual representation of something to keep your, to think about. So, that's definitely a possibility. Now, do I think that's happening? Nah, not really. But cryptos are going to do whatever they want. Another chart, Bitcoin Cash, real quick, is something that, again, I'm going to try and keep this video short, just a couple more minutes. I was really liking the setup in Bitcoin Cash. It was getting high and tight, which means it rallied up. It stayed inside bars for several days. The price action stayed within the same range for several days. And when you get a break on either side of that, you're going to get follow through. Well, we got follow through to the downside. And I think we actually got better. I guess Bitcoin had I guess they all kind of had that sort of set up, but Bitcoin Cash was also very far off of its lows. And in my opinion, is trying to eke out a bottoming pattern with a back in February, its low, the low in April, and then possibly the pivot low at the end of May. So I believe that Bitcoin Cash, as long as we can still hold like 930, which guys are still like 10% below here. If it wants to move down, it's got a lot of room to move down. As long as we hold that 930 to 877 zone, we've got a lot. I would say this hot box down here. And cryptos, it could be. It's tough to say. Like, look how big this price range is. I mean, you want to start buying at 943 all the way down to 768. Yeah, I mean, all the way down to 750 maybe. I mean, okay, you could lower the hot box a little bit, maybe down here. So you're buying in a 10% range in Bcash. If we got a flush down, and I'm saying like, this was a bare technical break. We have to see if 980 or 1,000 is going to hold psychological. If we really do get any type of flush down, I'm going to be looking, again, not financial advice, just if I'm clearing out of some of my longs, this is my next area that I would love to buy some in, because it still keeps the left head and right shoulder bottoming pattern thesis alive, which I think is very healthy for crypto to say that there still are some charts out there that are looking all right. Now, Golem just hasn't had a good day in the last week. It has just been coming off, and it's pretty oversold now. We broke the upper flag, and remember, I did some videos where I said, like, if we break 57, 56, 55 cents, is when I would be looking to cut some of my position, especially when we broke 53 cents. Look at the acceleration we got after we broke the last low. I mean, if you didn't get out momentum, if you didn't get out at 62 and you didn't get out at 56 or 55, you got another chance when we rallied up. We couldn't hold 55, 56. 53 should have been your out, the previous low, and that would have saved you all this, and maybe you were able to buy some back in. Now, we did, we're back to where we broke out from. So if you bought down here, like me, you gave up your profits. You're not down anything, but it still sucks. I mean, that was, I think Golem had a pretty severe drop. I'm sure a lot of the other ones did as well. EOS, we did get a rocket launch from 14 to 15 on news that they were going to be releasing the mainnet. But it got instantly sold. I know there's some technical guys that say that it's holding up better. And I mean, you could. From the breakout, it's still holding that. It just, in the last 5 days, broke that uptrend to the downside. It's now bearish to neutral. I would say more so bearish, but now we're kind of out of the pitchfork thought process. So this pivot is now incorrect in my opinion. Anything else been crazy here? Again, I'm keeping this. Ripple came off pretty hard. I don't own any Ripple. If it ever sets up really nicely, I might. But as of right now, I don't. It came in 10%. It was just as bad as Golem. Golem's being sued. Ripple is being sued for being a security. I think there's several firms right now that have that open lawsuit. Again, another technical pattern. There's a couple things here, and I think I'm going to end the video with this. It's, if you see a setup like this, which we had a lot of charts that were looking really good in coiled, that's what it means by coiled. Price action gets caught in a smaller and smaller price range. As soon as it breaks, this is the important part of flags. As soon as it breaks to either side, momentum is going to be lost from either side. Like if this is a bull move, as soon as it breaks down, momentum on the bull side's out, and any of those momentum traders have to be out. As soon as we break to the upside, bearish momentum is completely negated, and they have to be out. Shorts will be squeezed, buying will commence because it's a bull break, and you get higher moves. So that's how price action reacts to these flags. That was a bear break. Now, do we get a bounce to 64 cents? Maybe, but it doesn't look like that. Like, we're not even having a bounce at all. We're getting an H sell setup on like a 6-hour HL setup. So the technicals do show on a 2-hour basis it's pretty oversold. Some nice sell volume came in. It's trying to hold its prior breakout, which is a good support area. But it's still way off its lows. It could come in 10% if it wanted to. So everything is down right now, and you have to. Zcash is actually outperforming. just to bring that up, it's actually coming off of its lows, where nothing else really is. So I think this definitely keeps it real, right? I think what happened should wake up a lot of people from we're not going to the moon tomorrow. This isn't going to be easy. Cryptos have never made it easy. Only if you just bought some and pretty much lost your USB for the last 7 years was it easy. I'm looking at Litecoin right now. On the 2-hour, the RSI got as oversold as some of our oversold events. We still haven't made a new low, and I think the silver lining is we haven't made a new low yet. If Litecoin breaks its prior low down here, be ready for a flush. So the ultra bull break that we wanted to see, we didn't get. Plain and simple. So we are not out of the woods yet. In fact, we just went from neutral bearish to, I think, more on the bearish side of neutral. Stay vigilant. Try and keep happy thoughts. I think the one last thing I want to talk about was I did see an article, and I was trying to find it. The CFTC, the government said that they've asked exchanges for information. It's probably all of their trading activity because they're really looking into Bitcoin manipulation. As soon as the Bitcoin manipulation stuff started happening and the news started coming out about that in the last week or two, I think that's why we saw. The tepid price action, because we got this move up because of Europe, and then we started seeing Bitcoin manipulation news, and that's a bullish thing. I want the government to stop Bitcoin manipulation because honestly, I think the Bitcoin manipulation is to the downside, not to the upside. We don't want manipulation in the market, so I think that's healthy that our regulators are actually doing the right thing. But in doing so, I'm pretty sure that article came out around this drop that we had, where they went out to several exchanges and said, "Give us all of your information. We're studying Bitcoin manipulation." Well, that could be pretty bad. I think it's a good thing, but also pretty bad. I haven't seen anyone else talk about that. That could be the reason why we gave up the ghost here. But keep in mind that I think that's why we saw the volume sell off. So with that, promise to keep the video short. It's 21 minutes or so. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a game plan. Protect your capital. Constant vigilance in the crypto community. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Sunday.